Hey, it's Ray Rican, and I'm back from vacation. And of course, what do I need to talk about? I need to talk about critical race theory, critical theory, all this stuff. It keeps popping up over and over. Do you remember this? Do you remember this story? Remember when they said it was a controversy that the San Francisco gay man's choir sings "We're coming for your children," and they said that it was a joke. Well, you know, they made a big deal about it because it was because it was the gay man's chorus, so they're making it about sexuality. But here's the truth: the leftists, they are coming for our children. That's the key to their success, has been um being able to get their ideas across in not just culture but in the institution of education, whether it be in um elementary or middle school or high school, but especially it's been college and university is where they get all their um acolytes from. So that, that's how they get about teach saying, oh, we don't teach critical race theory, we don't teach none of this stuff. And but they do. They teach our kids not of the actual theory, but it's tenets. And they teach us, they teach the kids their beliefs. They teach them, their culture, their beliefs. And if you think I'm, maybe exaggerating or whatnot, let me come here to this article here where it goes here. Vice promotes social justice camp that programs children with critical race theory. And let me see if I still have it pause, if it's still paused at the point where I wanted to play the video. I don't think it is, because I saw this much earlier in the day that I'm recording right now. Um, but this camp and what they're doing. Oh, come on.
And racism every day. Take a step
Let's see.
forward.
It was about right here.
To look at like how that plays out through different identities, right?
Listen.
Why are you here at Anytime Kid?
I think at first I just signed up because I thought it was going to be like leadership.
I think it was
like,
right. It was right after this, so I'm gonna here. I think start it
He
here.
told me it was like this leadership camp, and I could come here to get 50 service hours, which was like my main reason.
Oh, so you came here for the service hours?
Yeah.
Noticed is that none of us really felt immediately connected to each other.
Another thing that we could agree on as a group is that white privilege is very dominant in our culture.
Another thing we wanted to take.
Here goes that whole thing. White privilege and that is dominant. Yes, this is what they're teaching the kids. And of course, if kids are taught it, they're going to believe it. It's a theory that's going around as fact. People are buying into it. And like I said, they get them from young. And where is it? There was an article here I was reading, which cracked me up. I think that's it right there. Just because if people don't understand here, toward a critical pedagogy of race, ethnic studies, and literacies of power in the classrooms, just so you can see. Yeah, here it goes. Well, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. This article explores the potential of critical pedagogy of race. So these are different terms they keep using. They change it because they don't want to get bogged down in one term when it's all teaches the same thing. But here it goes here. This is what cracked me up. We begin with an exploration of the role of white supremacy in race neutral curricula in the US schools. White supremacy, so race neutral is white supremacy now. Saying that we shouldn't focus on race. That's white supremacy now. So Martin Luther King is a white supremacist right now. I mean, that kills me. And here's another thing. Here it goes. Like when you hear about this stuff and you go, they act like they don't have an agenda. And here it goes. Look, critical race theory doesn't have a specific political or policy agenda. Right. Rather, the term refers to a collection of activists and scholars interested in studying and transforming the relationship among race, racism, and power. So, right there, they just contradicted themselves. This is double thing, saying that it doesn't have a specific political or policy agenda, but the term refers to a collection of activists and scholars interested in studying transforming the relationship among race, racism, and power. So that's an oxymoron. You can't say they don't have a political or policy agenda if they're activists and scholars and they're interested in transforming the relationship among race, racism, and power. So that's really crazy. But you gotta understand that this is how they keep changing all these terms. They'll use different languages. Here, like I said, here they refer to it as critical race theory. In this article, they refer to it as the critical pedagogy of race. And where I've seen it as critical race pedagogy. And all these different terms, it's just boils down to they buy into critical race theory and they apply it to what they're teaching. And so you can see that from right here, what's going on. And this is what kills me, because I'm later I have to go to a school board meeting because they're looking to pass in my school district here title education equity. And when you go through this, it just reads as you could find all the terms where you'll see that it's critical race theory. It goes here: the board adopts this policy to prioritize the principle of educational equity through the fair and just allocation of resources, opportunities, and treatment of students based on each individual student's needs, which is nonsense. That's not what they're doing. The pursuit of educational equity requires the continuous and collaborative effort of identifying various aspects of district programs and operations in which consideration of educational equity shall be analyzed, incorporated, and prioritized. Equity, there's fairness. This is what's gone on. This whole thing, this move toward equity is basically participation trophy on steroids. It's rewarding bad behaviors. You want to look at, for example, I think is it Oregon or Washington? They're eliminating grades from schools because they say it's racist. The grades now are racist. How can you tell if you've learned if there's no test? Now, granted, there's different type of tests that you could learn. Let's say, for example, multiple choice test. Not everybody's good at multiple choice test. Not everybody's good at, let's say, essay questions. But I understand that, let's say essay questions, for example, really show you if a student has knowledge on the subject versus a multiple choice test, whether the person could just get luck of the draw with, what they're going to, if they guess the answer correctly. Because you got a 20, you got somewhere between a 20 to 25% chance, depending if it's A, B, C, D, or E. Obviously the more choices, the less the percentage you have of just guessing it right. But you read here and you go, achievement gaps shall mean the academic disparities and or differences between groups of students as indicated through variances. This is the whole thing. Achievement gaps. You could teach as a parent who, if you have multiple kids, you could love them equally, give them equal attention, that doesn't guarantee they're going to have an equal outcome in life, because at the end of the day, it's the choices they make. It's like for example, me and my little sister, we have college degrees, but my older sister, who never got her degree, makes more money than both of us. So college degree doesn't mean nothing. Our parents loved us, pushed us equally, but she's been the one who's been more successful in terms of making money. But that's just that's just one family. They want equity and equal outcome, not equality of outcome. They don't want equal opportunity. They want equality of outcome. You can't have equality of outcome. It doesn't matter. You could teach. So that's why I use the example of kids, of a person with multiple kids. Now apply that in a school setting where you have people who are teaching children. You could give each kid the same amount of attention. Some are going to do better, some are going to do worse. Sometimes you have to push that kid that needs more specialized attention. But when you go through all of these things, educational equity, cultural competency, cultural proficiency, this is all gender for the purposes of this policy shall mean the range of characteristics pertaining to differentiating between masculine and femininity, including a person's gender identity. And look, listen, this here is just, like I said, it's participation trophy syndrome. That's what I'm going to call it. Participation trophy syndrome. You have all these kids that, whether they won first place or not, you're giving them trophies and they think they deserve these trophies. Now that's what's going on in these schools. We don't want to hurt the kids' feelings, so we want to make things. We want to. I can't even. You know what? They just want to. They're so worried about feelings that they forget they're there to teach. It doesn't matter if you hurt their feelings or not. You're not preparing them for the real world. And what's going on is this was ignored in colleges, and now it's coming home to roost, because we were so worried about kids' feelings and self-esteem that now they're putting this stuff into the real world, and it's creating havoc, because this is what, at the end of the day, critical race theory, critical gender theory, all this stuff is an offshoot of critical theory, which is an offshoot of Marxism. And all they want is to destroy our system of government here in the US. That's what it basically boils down to. They don't want a free market. They don't want a free market. They don't want a free market of ideas. It's like when Trump started the 1776 project, to combat the 1619 project. What did Biden do? Instead of going, okay, well, you know what? Let me put my people into it. Maybe we could see where there's a compromise. No, just destroy it, because we don't want to talk about that. But here we are. We have to fight this in the schools. If you're a parent, you have to go to these board meetings. You have to let your voices heard that you don't want your kids learning this stuff. Blacks, Latinos, we don't need to be victims. Don't let them don't let them treat us as victims. We're not. We got to push. We have to fight this harder than anything, because these white progressives are poisoning our children's minds, and in turn we're helping give them power to push this stuff that's destroying the country. What in particular, you got Cubans, Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, all these countries, all these people. Your parents fled communism. You have the countries that formed the former Soviet Union. You have those are other people that you need to come into these school board meetings and colleges, and you got to talk to these educators and be like, look, socialism, communism, sucks. This is why it doesn't work. This is why we came here, and you guys teaching this stuff is destroying this country, the fabric of this country. And the only person or entity that this empowers are our enemies, such as China. China, this, this whole division empowers China. It empowers communist China because it makes us weak. It divides us. So instead of focusing, look, we could teach the history of our country, warts and all. Okay. We could teach the bad things that have happened in our past, but that doesn't mean that you don't love your country. You could want to fix aspects of, let's say, there's a difference between, let's say, like Obama wanted to fundamentally change this country. You can't fundamentally change someone and love them. Doesn't work that way. But let's say you could go, hey, you need to lose weight. I love you, but you need to lose weight. I want you to eat healthier, get healthier. I was just using that as an example because I need to lose weight. But you could still love the person, even though they're overweight, but want them to lose weight. That's not fundamentally changing them. But you're changing habits. You're changing eating habits and all that stuff. So let's say you want to change, let's fix the way these school boards choose their curriculum. They said they're choosing this stuff from the state board, but if here locally we don't want that stuff being taught to our kids, we should be able to fight it. So I'm hoping to be able to speak, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to leave it here. I hope you enjoyed the video. The Ray Rican, you can follow me on YouTube and Rumble. That's where I post my videos. So if you're watching it on one, please subscribe to the other side too, because I'm not, especially if you're watching it on Rumble and even if you don't watch it on YouTube, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube, because the numbers count, and I'm just I gotta play the game with YouTube. And you can follow me, interact with me on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram. I think you can message me directly, or even on Twitter and stuff. I forget how, but we'll leave it there. With that being said, everyone, have a good one.